Good morning, everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend. Hope you have your nice drink of whatever kind you want. Mine's hot. Barbara's is cold. I drink hot year round. I really do. I like warm beverages. Um, but anyway, today's President's Day. And we want to honor our presidents that we've had in the past. When I was a kid, we had two President's Days. Well, we had Lincoln's birthday and we had Washington's birthday. And then as I got older, they changed it to President's Day, which is today. And I've forgotten. I know one of them was on the 22nd. One of them I thought was on the 14th, but that's Valentine's Day and it wasn't the same. So I'm wrong on one of those. But anyway, we want to honor our presidents. We've had some very, very wonderful presidents in the past. So people forget the great things that they did. And just a little aside, George Washington, there's a statue in New York where George Washington's standing with his hand on the Bible. And it's when he took the oath of office, and he also dedicated this country to the Lord, to the Creator, to God. Um, he was a believer, and many, many of the signers of the Constitution were. Some were deists, but most of them were Bible believing Christians. And people have been told lies about that. So I'm just going to get that out there. Is that some of the things you're hearing um, are incorrect if you really study the true unchanged history of our country. So and y'all know where we stand. We're solidly rooted on the Bible, and and that is, and I love what Benjamin Franklin told a lady when he walked out of the Congress that day that they signed and everything. And a woman said, "So what do we have?" He said, "You have a constitutional republic if you can keep it."
Mhm.
And one of them, I don't remember who, said, that without God, none of this will work. And if you can see the decline in the country, you can see that when people turn away. And there's not a separation of church and state. It is not in the Constitution. It's in one letter. And what they did was they said the establishment of a government of a church, a national church, like Italy, their national church is the Roman Catholic Church. And so that's what's prohibitive. But actually, it was up to the states to have a state church. And I didn't realize that little tidbit until recently, that was given to the states' rights. And but it was not to prohibit any religion being practiced
Right.
here. That's the
Freedom
thing.
of religion.
Yeah, it was for everybody. And that worked well for many years. So that's what we forget. We forget that we can have discussion and that we can have um, common ground with people of all faiths. It doesn't mean we have to subscribe to their faith, but that we do have common ground. I mean, people are people, and it
Mhm.
doesn't, and no, they can't make us live by theirs, and we can't make them live by ours. And so that's what we need to get back to, that that we are one race. We're the human race.
Right.
And I think all this division has just come about to try to make our country not be great anymore, to make it not survive, actually. Our country is on the precipice, and most countries only last about, or shouldn't say countries, most types of countries only last well for about 200 years. And
Mhm.
we're past that by a long shot. So, we're doing okay, and I think we'll recover, but we all have to really take stock of where we are. And so that's my little President's Day speech. So I I just had to get that in just because we forget our history. Much of our history's been rewritten, and we've forgotten to keep hold of it. Um, somebody in court the other day was asked just a couple of days ago, did you leave? Did you fly to another continent? Okay. I don't know if you've heard this, Barbara, because you worked all week. So did you fly to another continent? She's on trial for doing bad things. Anyway, and whether she has the character to do the job she's supposed to be doing. Anyway, she said, I went to Belize. Is that on another continent? Or I went to Belize. Is that a continent? Is what she said. I went to Belize. Is that a continent?
Yes.
Well, Belize is in North America. It is a country in Central America, actually. So if you consider North and Central separate, yeah, she went to another continent, but she didn't even know her continents. And I hesitate to say exactly who she is and what she's doing right now, but she's presiding over a major trial, and she's being questioned on her ethics and stuff. So yeah, it amazes me, the people that don't know basic stuff. I mean, you may not know that a country, but is it a continent? But also that, you look at a map and you know where you're going.
That's like, for me, I'm Canadian, and it always amazed me as a kid when coming down, like, we learned about American history. We learned geography, world geography, things like that. And I would come down and we would talk to people, kids our age down in Florida and other places where we traveled to, and they knew nothing, absolutely not taught anything about the world.
Yeah.
Outside of the US.
Well,
and
yeah.
And plus, one of the things that you mentioned at the beginning was that out of the 55 men who signed the Declaration of Independence, 52 of them were active members of their church.
Yes. And some were preachers.
And some were preachers. And it's like, okay, so now what part of that it's like, yeah, we need to do that. And we need to be just so aware of our part, which is one of the things that we were going to chat about this morning too, is being authentic.
Yeah.
Be your authentic self. You do not have to go just because someone else says something that it's true. Find out for yourself. Know yourself.
Yes.
Spend time reflecting to understand what you value.
Yes.
What you are passionate about. And my cat is moving me here. What you are passionate about. What is your purpose here? You don't have to just be a lamb going to slaughter or going to whatever, following the crowd of sheep, to just be part of, because if you don't believe in it, because if we can speak our own truth, speak our truth, communicate honestly and know and openly, and that's what this country is. This was founded on the word of God and on freedom of speech.
Yes. And now they're cutting out speech. And
they're,
if you'll really look at it, the noisy people that are trying to take all these things away is a very minute number of people. Now, we are not a majority rule. That is a democracy. We are a constitutional republic, because majority rule is mob rule. And if you think about that, but the noisy ones are very, they've changed the landscape of our country because they're noisy. It's like the squeaky wheel, and people just do stuff to shut them up.
Mhm.
I mean,
Right.
and we're all guilty of that. How many of you went on and let your kid have a candy bar because they were screaming so much for it? It's like, okay,
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and just in that moment, in that moment. And then, but just, I think one of the biggest things, one of the researches that I've been doing, because of the branding work that I'm doing for Wellness Playroom, is that people are looking for other people to be really authentic and to be vulnerable.
yeah,
Let yourself be seen as who you are, even if it's at the expense of feeling that little, um, that you're flawed. We're all flawed.
yes.
We're
But
all flawed.
it's also right now, if you speak your truth, if you speak
Right.
what you know, what is biblically correct, even so oftentimes you get lambasted, you get barred. I mean, I lost my Twitter account 2 times. Two
Mhm.
times my Twitter was taken away. And I wasn't even saying that much.
Right.
So yeah, it is very, people don't stand up and say what they mean because they're concerned about the consequences.
Right.
I mean,
I mean,
let's face it, some people are getting shot.
right. Right. I mean,
Money
there do
in
have to be
Texas,
boundaries.
okay?
There do have to be boundaries. Absolutely. You know, and the
You
boundaries
don't
are
shout fire in a crowded theater.
exactly, and just, save your energy for things that matter.
Yeah, yeah,
Save your energy for the things that matter, and then honor your limits.
yes. And
What do you
honor your word.
and honor
You know,
your
and
word?
people don't honor their word. Oh, I'll do that. Yeah, we can do this. I
Yeah.
mean, trust me, Barbara and I have full Sundays most of the time. Do we want to get up and have our makeup on and do a show first thing on Monday morning? Actually, we have a call before this, but we do need to be up for that. But you know, how many people want to get up at this time? But we've promised to bring you a show. I won't say every week because we've missed a couple this year already, one or two, just due to illness or technical. And
We love technology. Yeah.
yeah, we love it. We love it. And without technologies, we wouldn't get to come and visit with all of y'all. So that's one of the things we're very thankful for technology and all the things we can do and how we can build our businesses without having to travel all over the country. I mean, when I had my modeling agency, I was on a plane 3 weeks out of the year going and
We out of the month.
huh?
3 weeks a month you were on the
Oh,
plane.
yeah, yeah, sorry. 3 weeks out of the month. So,
You
I
were
mean,
on.
I was gone 3/4 of the time. It was only for 4 or 5 days. I was home most weeks because I had the office, but on weekends I was out scouting. And so, yeah, it
Yeah.
it has eased a lot. Just like
Oh,
I've
yeah.
talked before about sending the girls, their portfolios were 9 by 17, covered in scuba fabric, which is very heavy, plus pictures in it, so like 29 by 11 photos in it. And I had to FedEx those around to Japan and Italy and New York and LA and all around. And that's a bit of cost. And so when we were able to, it was kind of towards the end of when I was doing it, just sending digital photos to see if they
Mhm.
wanted them. Then I eventually had to send them their books so they could send it around. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, technology has done a world of good for the
The
world.
world of good.
Um,
But you know what? And I think part of that comes out, it leads into follow your intuition. If you feel in your gut, we hear it all the time. Use your gut feeling. Is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
yeah, I
And
have,
that's, I was like you got to the point where it's like, when you finally gave up your agency, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And it turned out to be no.
yeah, yeah,
It's time to give it up. Be aware of what that is, what is guiding you. So if you are being guided to do something that could be slightly in a different direction from the norm,
Mhm.
Those of us that are bringing light to the world, we're going to have to stand out from the world.
Yes. Yes, and one of
So
my
follow that.
mentors he calls it the nudge, and he's definitely a
Nice.
believer and he follows Christ. The thing is, but he calls it the nudge. Are you getting that nudge?
Are you getting a nudge
What
to
is
do
the nudge telling you?
something?
Because y'all have all experienced it.
Yeah,
It's a
that gut
knowing or
feeling.
it's a, and Keith and I'll go, when we're in a quandary, we'll go, okay, Lord, do we do such and such? And you
Mm.
feel in your gut, yes or no,
A
and
gut
or
feeling.
do or a lightning or a quickening, and then we'll go, Lord, are we not supposed to do this?
Right.
And we'll feel either a lightness or a heaviness, and so
Mm.
that's one way to judge, and you get more versed at it as time goes on, of knowing what you're supposed to be doing if you ask. God's there waiting for you to ask. No matter what your problem is or where you are, he's there waiting for you to ask. He's like a daddy waiting for the baby to wake up. You're sitting there looking at your newborn, waiting for it to wake up.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, just live intentionally.
Yes, yes. In fact, Barbara's in a Bible study right now for Lent that talks about
Li-
that.
Live
And for
intentionally.
those of y'all that don't know, Lent leads up. It's the time of fasting and self-reflection and stuff leading up to Easter.
Yeah. And so when we live intentionally, it's that we let our choices reflect our true self.
Yes. And that gives you an
And
outcome.
exactly. I mean, when we yeah, it's what we do within ourselves. It's like right now, for the last 2 years, which I totally do not understand, is I have not been able to take a trip. And I used to travel a lot. I would travel 3 or 4 times a year. And for the last 2 years, I have been home. And yet the last trip that we went on, that Carol and I went to, that we had an absolutely amazing time, the road trip, we were gonna fly, we were both gonna fly into Las Vegas. And one day I called her and I said, Carol, I have to drive. She said, what? I said, I have to do this trip, but I'm gonna drive. Why are you gonna drive? I ended up driving 4,295 miles.
I said, come get me.
And part of that was,
She's
well,
up in
just come get
Chicago.
me.
Yeah.
So I drove from Chicago to Tulsa to Amarillo to St. George, Utah, and back. And that trip was so amazing for so many reasons, which we can't get into here. However, it was the last trip.
Yeah.
And I have not been on a trip since.
Something that
I
kind of is
go
coming to
for it.
mind as you're saying about this is, I went from flying, but both of us traveled as children.
Yeah.
Both of us traveled as children. And so that's kind of what's in us because that's what our daddies did.
Yeah.
But the other thing is I went from if I wasn't on a plane at least once a month, I felt like God was mad at me and I'd done something wrong.
Mm.
And when I closed the agency, and I traveled before the agency and after the agency, but when I would go, what I caught myself is if I went more than a month without being on a plane, I was like, oh, and God had to teach me I'm not about flying. And so I wonder if because I went and one year, a couple of years ago, it hit me that I flew in one year what I used to fly in 1 month. I took
Wow.
only 3 trips that one year. And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, okay. And so it was
And
just
with me,
finding me. And so I wonder if that has anything to do with your trips.
right now, it's just me being obedient.
Well,
I'm not to
right now,
travel.
we're both running for our company. In fact, if anybody wants to go on a sea cruise with us, there is plenty of time. But
Yeah.
company is taking us on a cruise, 7-day cruise, all expenses paid. And then there's also the Red Rock, that's what we drove for, wasn't it?
We drove for the
The
Red Rock.
Red Rock. Okay.
Yes.
And so Red Rock, the Master Your Power Within, and our convention, all of those things are coming up. And so we're running hard for them. But, who knows? I mean,
Who knows?
will planes be flying? Will cars be driving? Who knows?
Don't know.
Things they
Not up
are
to me.
changing.
Are changing. So
Okay.
anyway, so just be aware of who you are.
Yeah.
Speak your truth. Set boundaries.
Run for your goal.
Run for your goal. Follow your intuition. If your gut is telling you not to do something, or your gut is telling you to do something, it works both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
The same feeling. It works both ways. Are you supposed to do this or not supposed to do this?
And those are almost equal. People talk about what they're going to do, but being an obedient child, it's like, don't do this, do this. And so it's the same thing as an adult. And so that's why we're both running for those to earn them.
Yeah.
They're not hard.
And then we'll see what
They're
happens.
easy. They're easy breezy. So just putting that little nugget out there if you want to go on a cruise. But yeah, you run for it anyway, and then if you get to go, yay.
And if not, oh, well, there's a reason that I don't have to understand it. All I have to do is be obedient to it.
And
So,
the perks are still there because the income
right,
is
exactly.
it skyrockets. So
Yep.
anyway.
Anyways, have a great week.
Yeah.
Have a great week. Just see what the week will bring and live it with anticipation.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's my final word.
Okay. Well, my final words are, is the year going by too fast? You may need to slow down. I can't believe, we were talking before we came on the show that it is already Lent. That means Easter's just right on the heels of Lent. We've already done January and over half of February. I mean, there is both St. Patrick's Day and Easter things in the store. I mean, rows and rows of both. I'm like, I see the green. I'm like, oh, it is nearly March. Oh, it is nearly March. And that just seems very quick for me. Very, very, very fast. So anyway,
absolutely.
y'all have a wonderful day. Remember, if you're watching on Facebook, please click like and share. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up because it changes the algorithms. And please subscribe and put the little bell where it turns red, and that way you'll get a notice when we put up a premiere. It'll kind of pop up on your feed so that you know that something's coming up, and you'll be able to put that on your calendar. So we love y'all. Just enjoy your week. And if you have any questions, or if there's any particular topic you want us to cover, please put it in the chat. Bye.
Bye, everybody.